GMGP, good morning, good people. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world, but y'all decided to wake up with us. You're sick. You're sick in the head. There's a lot of fantasy football shows out there, but I promise y'all, they not like us. Brock Bowers, you looked a little quicker than fast. What does that even mean? Redraft, dynasty, best ball, high stakes, we got you covered.
And that's MVS and Justin Watson.
With some of the dopest tools designed to help you cancel out the noise and dominate your leagues.
If there's a white wide receiver named Antoine, sign me up.
Maybe it's cultural. I don't know. In season or off season, rain, sleet, hail, and snow,
Comma, semicolon, period, next sentence.
to bring you the most actionable and entertaining content on YouTube. You don't go buy the dip on the Titanic.
Quarterback that you love, D-Bro. One of the best values in fantasy football.
Prop bets with my man JRich.
Yes! Let's go!
So wipe the crust out of your eye, get you a cup of coffee. It's time to wake y'all asses up with Ray
And Jay.
in the morning.
My God.
How good is
Dude.
he? Let's get it, GMGP. It is Friday. Happy Friday, December 6th. Y'all decided to wake y'all asses up with myself and my brother from another mother. Y'all know who it is, JRich. Feel Good Friday, Fantasy Football Friday, Freak Something Friday, Have Something Up Friday. It's AMA Friday for y'all good people, the squad, my family, the Wake Up crew. I appreciate each and every eye, each and every ear in the building. We are wrapping up this week of content going into week 14. Thursday night football, good game last night. Green Bay Packers, Detroit Lions, Detroit 34-31. We'll talk about that. JRich, I want to talk about a little college, man. This transfer shit. Everyone transferring, leaving. I don't think this is good for the game. We'll talk about that. Preview some of the games heading into week 14 and whatever else y'all want to talk about. I see the people already in the chat asking questions. Shout out to my dog Jimbo. Who we got in the building, man? Who we got in the damn building? I saw the chat was going this morning. Daniel Perry, what's up, baby? Carson, what's good? Jason, Cold World, TDE, Alex, Freak Off Friday. Oh, man. Freak Off City. Let's go, Alex. I like that energy, baby. I like that energy. Me and the missus, we're going out tonight. We're going to a concert tonight, so hopefully we get to freak something up this Friday as well. The mods don't wake up this early. Jimbo, what's popping with you? You got me swinging. I got you. Swing me that wrench. DD Fantasy Football. Yeah. What's up? James, Jason Flores, Rico Stone. The Freak is in the building, man. Look at just a lot of freaks on this Friday. I'm liking this nasty energy we're putting out. I like it, JRich. I like this nasty work we're putting out. Jay, how you doing this morning, baby?
I'm good. I mean, I'm a little uncomfortable after this intro.
I just see you laughing at me talking about how nasty the chat is this morning. I like it, man.
The problem is, Ray, is you know our audience and you know our chat, but you still choose to rile them up this early in the show. This is content for like the 40th minute, maybe 50 minutes. You know, once we're well past that hour mark when things really get off the rails, we're 6 minutes into the show and we're already going into freak offs and freak off Friday.
Yeah, we're freaking off.
This is not where we need to be early on a Friday morning.
There's no point to beat around the bush. Let's just get to why we were here. Let's do the deed, be done. No need for 40 minutes when we can get it done in 4. You feel what I'm saying, Jay? You feel me?
I definitely feel you there. Yeah, 4 minutes over 40 minutes is preferable.
Efficiency here. That's what we aim for on this show. I don't know what we're talking about. How you doing, baby?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. We had a great game last night.
We did.
So I was very excited for that. And the transfer stuff is very interesting. It's, it's funny because I would say that maybe to some extent the coaches were right when they said that NIL is somewhat ruining college football.
Dude.
But, it's definitely a problem when there's literal free agency in college sports right now.
Well, the transfer portals and there are so many kids that hit the portal that they get lost in the shuffle. I just don't think it's good. I don't.
Yeah. Your team has a losing season and all your good players are in the portal going somewhere else.
Or if you don't get the type of playing time that you wanted right off the rip, they're gone. You know, and
instantly.
Coach Prime said it. There was an interview he did maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago where he talked about a lot of people were looking at the size of these recruiting classes and talking about Colorado's class not being as big as some of these other classes. And what Prime said is, we don't need 35 kids coming in because then that means we're just going to have to kind of babysit them to pray that they don't leave. He said, give me 9 to 10 freshmen that I know are going to play right off the rip. bring them in so we don't have to worry about that attrition, you know? So I think
And they won't want to transfer either, right?
right.
So
And
you
I,
keep
I
them,
think
retain them, and all that stuff.
long gone are the days of just looking at a class and being like, oh, yeah, they got 13 5 stars, so they've got the best class. The chances that they even stay, and then the development for the next level. And what we're chasing for fantasy football, it's how do you get that if you're constantly, I don't know, man. It just a soft ass generation of kids. And I feel like one of them old men that always talk about back in my day, because
Yeah.
but it is like, what are you leaving for? What are you just because you didn't get this right off the rip? Like, stay your ass where you're at and work and grind. And I get there are situations where you need to pivot around. Like Cam Ward staying at UIW wasn't going to get him to the next level. He had to move. He had to leave
Yeah.
Incarnate Word to go somewhere else. But these, man, it makes the game that we play very risque. And that is why I don't rank shit beyond the next year's class. I do not do traditional Devi. I don't do any of that anymore because it's so difficult. And for me to be like, oh yeah, this 5 star is going to be the second coming of LaDainian Tomlinson, it's just a
Yeah.
foolish. It's just not going to happen. The probability is so damn low, Jay. But neither here nor there. I'm sure we'll talk about some 25 classes. This is a show for the people, brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. So make sure you use that promo code ALLGAS. Get up to $100,000, $1,000 in bonus cash when you use that. Not 100. You're not
If you
getting
win
100,000.
enough, though,
You're
maybe.
not getting 100,000. You're not getting 100,000. Jay, do
Took
we
a
have
big
any
parlay.
news to talk about? You got some news for us?
There's quite a bit of news, yeah, depending
well,
on how you're doing in fantasy right now. 6 teams on bye, too.
Yeah,
I
let's
didn't
do
even put
I
Deontay
know,
Johnson
man.
on
The
the news.
Ravens,
Oh, man.
the Texans, the Broncos.
We gotta
It's
talk.
just-
We gotta talk about George Pickens because he's the next guy in the list of Steelers wide receivers to leave the Steelers and just go wild. Like we had AB, we got Deontay Johnson now.
All right. Let's go to news. Get into
We'll
it,
go
and then
to
we'll
the
let
news.
that hit us with the questions. We'll be right back. News.
The biggest news in the world of sports. Covered and brought to you by one man, Jordan Richards. This is Straight Facts.
All right, everybody. So we do have a bit of news I wanted to touch on for all the people who are still competing in their fantasy leagues. Trevor Lawrence was placed on IR. He's also going to get shoulder surgery to clean up the shoulder injury he had earlier and obviously deal with his concussion. The Texans have signed Brevin Jordan to a 1-year extension, which I thought was funny because you did bring him up just last show. Breece Hall has yet to practice this week and could potentially miss time with a knee issue. He says he's not sore and he's okay, but yet he is not practicing. And with the Jets being out of it, it's possible that he misses games, maybe not just this week, but subsequent weeks as well. Bills tight end Dalton Kincaid is expected to return this week. He's been practicing all week and is on track to play against the Rams along with wide receiver Keon Coleman. DJ Moore and DeAndre Swift are both not practicing with quad injuries and both did not practice yesterday, along with Roschon Johnson, who's still dealing with his concussion. So potentially they could be without DeAndre Swift.
Another
and
concussion for Roschon
Johnson. Yes. Yeah. So it could be without DeAndre Swift and Roschon Johnson. And then we'll see what happens with DJ Moore. Keenan Allen did practice yesterday, thank God. So Caleb has somebody at practice. But DJ Moore could miss time as well. But we'll see what happens on Friday. He could be more than fine. Cedric Tillman is also unlikely to play, the wide receiver for the Browns, after suffering concussion in week 12. But week 14, he's still not expected to be ready to play, has yet to practice. Bucky Irving and Mike Evans haven't practiced this week, but I do expect them to play. Evans didn't practice last week, and we've all been hearing the reports week after week about Bucky's injuries, but he still continues to play and be very effective. Jacoby Myers was a DNP yesterday, so he could potentially miss this weekend, but we'll have to wait to see what happens for Friday practice reports. Devonta Smith will be back after practicing all week. CeeDee Lamb was held out of practice but should be playing. Jake Ferguson should be back after his concussion, but your boy Zach Martin is getting season-ending surgery on his ankle and will be out for the year. Ladd McConkey's been very interesting the way his stuff has been reported. He's already been reported to not be available this week, but he continues to practice in a limited fashion. He's dealing with a shoulder injury and knee injury as well that he suffered this past week. He says he wants to play, says he's going to do everything he can to play, but it's still uncertain as to whether or not he will. So if you are planning on starting Ladd McConkey, you probably should have a backup plan just in case he doesn't play. Tyler Higbee's been practicing for the Rams all week and will be available finally, but we have DK Metcalf and Kenneth Walker were both downgraded yesterday and could be unavailable for the Seahawks in Arizona this weekend. On top of that, Bill Belichick apparently showed interest in the UNC job which is very interesting. And then the Lions showed their grit last night, winning 34-31 victory over the Packers. Yeah, they showed their grit. That fourth down conversion. And Timmy, 2 tutties. Got it done. Tim Patrick, 2 touchdowns, Ray.
That's your boy.
Big game for Tim.
That's your boy.
Tim.
That's your boy, Tim Patrick. Yeah. JRich, we had a super chat early in the show. Thank Alex, man. Hit the sounder for Alex. $10 super chat. GMGP, get you some sheets. JRich, Freaky Friday. There are some wild people in the chat today. We got Drake over Kendrick Lamar. Jay, how do you feel about that?
Depends on the question, personally. But yeah, I mean, Drake's outsold him every month this year. So let's just be honest about the facts.
All right, let's talk about it, man. Yeah, Jason's talking about Dylan Gabriel, 3 schools in 6 years. I just, and I know there was a comment in here about these kids aren't, where's it at? From Davy Cakes. Shout out to Davy Cakes. Appreciate you being here. These kids aren't just student athletes anymore. They're professional athletes. Jay, I wrote my dissertation on this.
Really?
2013. It was 2013, and I argued that student athletes were, in fact, employees of an institution and not student athletes from an amateurism standpoint. I think the difference is they still are kids, though. They're still kids in this market or enterprise where it's free reign. Has anybody even have we even seen one piece of paper, Jay, of a contract, of an NIL deal? Like, what's it look like? How they're paid? Who's the money go to? Is it in a trust? Does it go to? I don't know how any of this shit works, but it just feels like when you hit the portal, there's so many kids hitting the portal. If you don't have the right representation, like, you just get lost. There's so many kids. I worked in collegiate athletics for 10 years, man. You get lost in the transfer portal. I think this is not good. I don't think I'm all for players being paid. They need to be compensated, but they've got to have somebody, some entity. I don't know what it is governing, like, their protected interest as well. Like, it just seems a little wild as hell to me, man. It seems quite crazy to just have this free market that essentially starts when you're in high school. I mean, like, the NIL doesn't just pop off when they're seniors in high school, right? Going to college. This shit is starting 7th, 8th, 9th grade. They're being recruited. They're being pursued by these universities. It's like Jackson Arnold, former quarterback of Oklahoma. This was somebody that the fantasy community was really excited about a couple of years ago. Could be a top quarterback in 2026. Got a chance to play last year, had the starting job this year, lost the starting job. Hawkins, the other quarterback, wasn't that good, got injured. They bring Jackson Arnold back, and he's like, F y'all, I'm out. So where does the development come from? So if next year, just hear me out, you could just see next year Jackson Arnold hadn't done a damn thing throughout his career. He transfers to Miami and balls out. Like, is that the QB? It doesn't feel like the development is really there, and I just think that 5, 6, 7 years from now, we're going to feel the impact of what's happening in the football is run by the quarterback position. I don't give a shit how good the running back is, the receiver. Yeah. You've got to have star power at the QB position. Either it's going to be watered down, the QB play is going to be watered down, or I don't know, Jay. I'm concerned. I'm concerned, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think you brought up a couple really good points, like both before the news and after the fact. You have the issue of, well, okay, should kids really be, I don't want to say held hostage, but to some extent, right? Like, once you commit to Alabama, like, you're stuck there and you're probably not playing for 2 seasons unless you're really, really good. And should they be forced to stay there if there's opportunities for them to play elsewhere, versus what you're talking about of, okay, you go from 3 schools in 3 years, where is the consistent coaching and development going to come from? Because maybe you'll be okay for certain stretches, but the reason why players get better and improve is from coaches working with them through multiple seasons to work through issues in their game, not just how do you fit the system, do you succeed or not, and then move on to the next program. Because you're not really going to develop your skills if you're consistently learning new offenses and working with new players and coaches. And I think, to your point, that's where a player like Cam Ward is interesting, because you have to ask yourself, like, where does that development come from is he able to develop at a high level that we need him to be a successful NFL quarterback when he's going through all these different programs in schools because he's not getting consistent coaching to work on the things that he needs to work on at the next level?
Yeah, and PJ Gardner says Joe Burrow soft from going to LSU. I'm not saying everybody. I'm not saying that's every situation. Like, come on, man. Like, what the fuck are we doing? I'm not saying this is a wholesale thing, but by and large, when they're whining about not being able to get on the field and I can't play early, or the quarterback from UNLV, if you don't give me $100,000 right now, I'm out of
I'm
here.
out.
That
Yeah.
they're in the, damn near in the college football playoff without him. So it's not in everything. And Zach said, why not move for the opportunity to make an impact and get burned if you're not getting burned, not getting any burn? Overblown issues you have. It's not an overblown issue. It's not an overblown issue. And it's not about just getting burned. It's a whole bunch of other, it's a lot of things. It's money, it's playing time, it's entitleism, man. These kids have been recruited and pampered and peppered and babied from the 8th grade, 9th grade. When you're a high-level prospect going to Alabama, y'all don't even know the half of what goes into like that recruitment process and how good they make you feel, right? How good they make you. That's their job, is to bring you in and work, man. Work. Certain situations aren't good for everybody, but this mass exodus, when you're seeing hundreds and thousands of kids hitting the portal, that's a problem. That is a problem if we're here for their education and well-being and all that shit that we know isn't true. We just want to make money and play games and win football games. So let's see what else we talking about in the chat, man. What's up, Joe? What's up, my girl Joe in the building? What's going down with you? What we got? What's up, D-Bro? D-Bro in the building, man. What's happening with you, D-Bro?
Let's go.
Jimbo. James has been up for 4. All right, what we got, Jay? Let's see. You see anything in the chat? You see anything in the chat? College football is the new G League.
Mostly about the coaching.
What'd you say?
It's just funny how you look at this and the sad part is, right, is the evaluation process is getting harder and harder now, right? Not just for us, like it's for everyone, because you're not able to watch a player get better and see his skills kind of translate and develop. You're just seeing how was he in this system. He goes from an air raid system to a spread system to a run first system. It's like, okay, he can play in a lot of different systems, but you still don't know the best way to deploy him because of how many different ways he's been utilized. So I think it's just making the game so much tougher. And then even from the evaluation processes, okay, cool. We saw you could do this in your last season, but it does seem like we're kind of getting to the point where, like you're saying, you ball out in your last season, you declare, and that's just what you probably should do.
Let me just ask you that. Let me ask you in the chat a real question. Who's been a collegiate Connor? Let's take this kid, Connor Wiegman from Texas A&M. He was a high 5-star prospect. A lot of people had him as QB1 coming into this season. You haven't heard shit about him his entire collegiate career, right? Hadn't done a damn thing. Pick another quarterback that we were high on that hadn't done anything. Transfers next year, right? 1 year, goes to Tennessee, goes to Oregon, wherever he may go. USC, pick the school. Balls out 1 year. Hadn't done anything up into that 1 year point. Like, I'm just at, how confident are you going to feel in that player, in that prospect versus somebody that you've seen you kind of mature as a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, or multiple years of start? How good are you going to feel about that one season? And I know a lot of people will look at Joe Burrow at LSU in his final season at LSU and be like, oh, 2019, 60 touchdown passes, set the NCAA record for scoring. But if you go back to the final 8 games the season before that, he was pretty damn good too.
Yeah, he was very good.
We didn't believe it. Jamar hadn't done anything. Jefferson hadn't blown up yet, but he was really damn good to finish out the season prior. How confident are you going to be with one and dones in NFL? NBA, it's a little different. And while the one and done in the NBA, it feels like those guys come in and they're all world off the rip. It normally takes them a couple of years too. It's like, oh, now in year 2, they're finally getting to go. In year 3, they've become an all-star, right?
Yeah, Ray, I would say that the NBA comparison is actually a really good one, not because the sports are anything alike, as no matter what an NFL or NBA player may tell you, but the impact of rookies in the NBA is getting worse and worse. Like, these guys do take a lot of time to develop. There's very few rookies, even top draft picks, that come in and perform very, very well at a high level. And I think you look to the NFL, and obviously college football is all kind of worked in there. and see like, okay, you have one good season. That doesn't mean you're going to be good in the NFL, though. It just means you are good for that one season. It's very similar in the NBA and for college basketball. You can have a really good freshman season, get drafted in the top 15, but you could be like, you may need 2 or 3 seasons till you're actually good and can acclimate to the NFL or NBA game, because that's the difference in the games. And you know that better than anybody. Like, there is a massive difference between even playing in the Big Ten to playing in the NFL. And the difference between college basketball and the NBA is like astronomically high. So that acclimation period is natural. But yeah, I definitely would be a little hesitant, because if there's one thing this season taught us more than anything, experience matters so much.
Does it matter?
It matters so much. It really does. You look to like the top Rookie of the Year candidates, they're all experienced players. Brock Bowers, Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, like Caleb Williams has struggled. Drake Mays looked okay, and he only started for 2 seasons because he was behind Sam Howell for a year. Like, I think you can just look to experience and say, it really does matter. Even in college football, where the competition it can only get so high and there's still that acclimation process, if you're a guy like Connor Weigman and you've been terrible in college, you have one good season, maybe you throw for 4,000 touchdowns.
Yeah,
like,
a good season.
It'll look good. The tape will look good, but you're still going to think like, well, where was this, right? And Spencer Rattler's another guy, right? Like, he was bad at Oklahoma. He had flashes,
but he was
then
overall
he went to South Carolina.
Right.
His final season was pretty good. It wasn't a bad season by any stretch. And he's a 5th rounder, right? So that's where it's very interesting to see, like, and that's why I say the evaluation process is getting harder, because as much as you may want to love this guy because he had this massive, really good season, look at Zach Wilson. He had one really good season, went 2nd overall, and was awful ever since.
Yeah, and Debro said people said Jaden was a 1-year wonder. Yeah, y'all gotta follow the right people, right? Because Jaden was excellent his freshman season at Arizona State.
5-year starter too.
Yeah, back in 2006, and then he had a couple of down seasons. Once the Antonio Pierce, Herm Edwards fiasco sort of took over, and then he transferred and balled out his final season. But he did have, I mean, he was in college since 2019.
And he was in 2 years at LSU, right? It was 2.
Yeah, 2 years at LSU.
It wasn't 1 and done. It was 2 years.
Correct. It was 2 seasons at LSU. 2 years. That's crazy, man. There were a couple of comments that I wanted to chat about, and let's pivot. Well, let's answer. Alex sort of highlights what you said. He said, on the other hand, do you see Bo Nix doing well and think that the experience matters more? When did they play? Browns played Monday Night Football, right?
Yeah.
Bo Nix had 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions in that game. I think 294 passing.
Yeah, passing.
Watching it, I don't think he was particularly great in the game from start to finish.
No,
but you what it felt like is he was never really rattled. Like, even when there was the stretch where he had like 7 straight incompletions. And I think you do gain that through experience, having gone through it. I've been here before. I've thrown a bunch of interceptions. I've been down. I'm not going to panic. We're going to continue to operate the offense as it needs to be. So I do believe that experience, it matters to a degree. It's not everything. Kenny Pickett had a lot of experience. Desmond Ridder had a ton of experience. So it's not everything. It's got to be the experience paired with the talent of the player. And then the one thing that we all, me, you, nobody in the chat, nobody in fantasy NFL draft space could even try to quantify is that individual, like, what the hell are they going to do once they get there? How are they going to work and push forward and progress in their game? We're not going to be able to find an answer to that. I do want to talk about Josh Jacobs and the Lions and some of the games that we're looking ahead towards this week. 6 teams on bye. I know the Commanders, the Ravens, the Texans, the Broncos. Who are the other 2 teams that are out this week?
You said Ravens.
I got Ravens, Texans, Broncos, Commanders. There are 2 more teams that are on bye. I can't think of it off the top.
That's fine.
Josh Jacobs, 3 touchdowns. Jay, 3 of them. Big time game from Josh Jacobs. Had a 4th receiving touchdown called back, a legal pick play on the play. Christian Watson.
Pats and Colts.
Pats and Colts. There you go. Christian Watson, 4 catches, 114 yards, and a costly fumble. J-Mo celebrating after each and every catch. Anytime Jamison Williams catches the ball, he is going to put on a show, even if it's for a 2-yard gain. Monty did his thing. Jared Goff did his thing. Jordan Love did not. 12 completions. He had 3, I believe, at half. Not good from Jordan Love. So what were your big takeaways from this game? Players, team. Is Detroit the best team in the NFL? 12-1. Are they better than Philly? Are they better than Buffalo? What are your thoughts, man?
I wouldn't say they're the best team in the NFL, but they're definitely one of, if not the, for sure. Like, part of me still thinks I would take Philly over Detroit, especially in the NFC, but it's very, very close, obviously. This game was just controlled by Detroit from start to finish. It was the only reason why the Packers scored points was either, the one pick that Goff had that was a bad pick, but again, it was a great play by the Packers, and then the big plays, right? If they weren't making big plays, they weren't doing much of anything. They could barely move the ball down the field. Love was very inefficient. Now, again, he was taking a lot of big shots, but you look to Goff, 32 for 41, 283. They ran the ball fairly effectively, and when they needed to, more importantly. And then Goff really used his arm to help move the chains when need be. They still ran the ball a lot on first and second down to try and just move the clock, hold on to the ball, maintain that time of possession. But you look to the Packers on the other side, it was always they're taking shots, Love's running around back there, taking sacks. That was the bigger thing for me in this game, is that the Packers weren't able to do enough moving the ball consistently, and that was the reason why they lost. I was surprised they put up 31 points in this game with how difficult it was for them to move the ball, but they hit enough big plays in the second half that they're able to score points. But really, it was Detroit just controlling the ball, moving it down the field, key downs, key situations. They executed all their plays, and they won the game because of it.
Everybody talking about Josh Jacobs balling out. Jay, this has been a great signing for Green Bay this offseason. Third in the NFL in rushing yards, 3 touchdowns on the week. I mean,
8
the
touchdowns
running backs
in his last 4 games.
The running backs have been. If you could, what's been the biggest story this NFL season? I think it's the return of the running back. I think it's the RB return. That is the story of
and
the
the
year.
declining QB play, right?
And I was going to say,
I think it's kind of in one all
mixed
together
with declining quarterback.
Yeah,
we keep saying this, man. We need to do this after the show, or maybe one of our good listeners or viewers could help us out. Has it really declined? Are we just saying that shit, or does it feel like that because the guys that we want to play well aren't playing well? Or is there evidence, data that suggests that passing numbers are down, passing yards are down, is that true? I don't want to just spew out fake news because it feels like that when we're watching it, but is that actually factually true, Jay? I don't know.
I can't confirm it right now, but
when I take these off, it means I mean business, damn it.
I would imagine that, but when the time the season's done, we'll see that, passing numbers are down. Like, Ray, here's a perfect example, right? We're in week 14, so there's 4 more weeks of the season, which means I think there's 4 more games for everybody at this point, and 5. Some teams have 5 games still. There might be 5 4,000-yard passers this season. Do you want to guess how many players have over 3,000 passing yards currently in the NFL?
How many players have over 3,000 passing yards in the NFL?
Yeah. Through 13 weeks.
8.
There's 7.
I was close.
So even less than that. You're very close. But there's a lot of young talent, right? There is definitely a decline in the high-end passing. Like, Brock Purdy's not throwing for 4,000 yards this season. That's not happening, right? He's not even going to be close. You look to the high end. You have Joe Burrow. Lamar Jackson's probably going to throw for 4,000 this year, depending on how their season ends. Jared Goff will be very close if he doesn't get there. Geno, Stroud, Kirk Cousins, if he makes it. A lot of people talking about Penix in the chat. We're talking about experience, right?
Well,
Penix, and then Baker's the other one that has over 3,000, but that's it.
Well, D-Bro's in the chat.
No Darnold, no Mahomes.
D-Bro's in the chat, and he's saying too high coverage increase, okay?
Yeah.
And then he says, hasn't declined, just how to succeed has. Less single high. What does that mean? I know what that fucking means. What does that mean? People throw this stuff out there too high. What does that mean? What does that mean? Because it's not just the fact that the defense is changing the coverage. This idea that too high safeties is some new revelation, like, what are we talking about? And what are we talking? You run quarter, you run palms, you got 2 safeties up top. You run cover 4, you got 3. You got 2 safeties over the top. You run cover 3, you got 1. You got cloud coverage, you got 3. Every third of the field, every quadrant, right? So this idea that 2 safeties has just
ruined the NFL.
Ruined the NFL. It's not true. I don't care what. It's the QB. It's the player that's attacking the defense, right? Not the defense. It's the player that's attacking the defense. What has happened to the ability to analyze, process, and dissect? That's what's changed. And when you got the JRiches of the world, The QB, you get out there and you complete 3 passes.
The
and
Will Levises.
We're talking about you as some elite talent, some 4th overall pick, top pick. Like that is the issue is you don't have to, you're not reading it coming up. You're not reading it through the college game, and then they're throwing these guys out there. And it's funny because in fantasy, we only think about one side of the field, right? And my boy, Zach was in here earlier. I don't know if Zach is still in. Said, I forgot I'm watching a mainly fantasy show for a second, thinking of linebackers, O-line. You can bring up all that. We talk sports, Zach, so it doesn't matter. We could talk any position, big dog. But I think that's the issue, Jay. It's not just these coverages have just dumbfounded folks. But when you as the QB, you got to be able to figure that out, right? You've got to be able to attack it. There are openings and gaps that can be exploited, and I think it's problematic. And when you're looking at Jayden Reed, this Packers situation with as good as Jordan Love is, we're gonna follow the dots. Can we follow the dots real quick, Jay? Can we follow the dots? Let's follow the dots real quick. Let's follow the dots. Let's follow the dots. Let's pull up the Trinity tool, ddfantasyfootball.com, the best visualization tool to sort of see. Oh God, to sort of see what's going on with the wide receivers. Can you see it now? Is that better?
Yeah, you're good now. Yeah.
All right, to see what's going on, the usage of the receivers in this offense is for the whole season for Green Bay. Here's Jayden Reed right here, Jay. 5.57 score. This is lower than where he was last year. Still above the trend line because he's scoring you 14 fantasy points, so he's doing more than most that get this type of usage. But look at this. This is what Jordan Love is supporting, right? This is not a fruitful offense, JRich.
Yep.
It's not. From the totality
I bet it would mimic
of the
the
season,
Texans offense a little bit.
Let's break it down. Let's go from week 8. What are we in week 14? Let's see what it looks like from week 8 to right. Look at this, man. Jayden Reed right there. 5.62, 11 points per game. Watson and Dobbs getting more high-end type of usage, but still not producing. Like this right here. If y'all have not used this tool this season to help you make decisions, trades, you're crazy. All the shit that people talk about, all these yards per route run, target share, first read target share, first down per route is all right there inside the dot. And you look at this offense and then we're jamming Jayden Reed out there. It's a hope and a prayer. It's a hope and a prayer every damn week. Okay? Hope and a prayer. You want who else you want to look at? Let's look at Carolina. Let's look at what they've looked. Look at this. Goddamn Bryce Young.
Bryce Young
look at this. Follow the dots.
Better than Jordan Love.
Better than Jordan.
Yeah,
he's been
give
better.
Me Houston.
Who? Houston? All right, let's pull up Houston. Let's pull up Houston.
I got to see what Tank Dell's doing.
All right, let's see where that Tank Dell is.
Wolf. It's not terrible, but
6.
Not great considering Diggs is out.
Diggs is out. Nico's still just 8.32 monster. Who else you want to see real quick? Who else you want to see? Give me
Arizona.
Arizona?
Give me Arizona, yeah.
Look at that, McBeast.
It's this touchdown bias, man. Come on, Marv's still up there. Yeah,
McBeast.
I mean, McBride's a baller.
McBeast. All right, one
Marv.
more. Who else has been? What other pass catching situations have been just nasty? Let's see what old Malik is doing. What's old Neighbors doing lately?
He's got to be going crazy, right?
Where's old Neighbors at? Below the line. Need some QB play. Still getting the
only show in town.
13 points per game for old Malik Neighbors. Yeah. All right. Done looking at wide receiver stuff. Let's see what the chat's talking about. You seem to be
mad about Jayden Reed.
Would you? Oh, are they pissed at Jayden Reed?
Big bagel. Well, you saw his number went from like 48 to 62, and he put up 0 yards. So it's like,
yeah,
insane.
But look, we all did it. We all started him last night. Let me ask you this question.
You did say it though, Ray. You've been on this for weeks now. Weeks where you're like, I don't know about Jayden Reed. Remember, we even kind of like collectively said maybe Dobbs is the guy you want to start. Now he was obviously out this past week.
Yeah. That would have been
what
bad.
have you made of Christian Watson kind of taking over this one role once again? This is where he was slated to be for a long time. He didn't really have it. Jayden Reed kind of came in and worked in. And you brought up how they're using Jayden Reed more as like this weird gadget type receiver, and it's not going to work for fantasy.
For me, just me personally, man, I have been burned so bad in fantasy football, buying in to the yak merchants. I'll never do it again. I will never do it again. I've been burned by any receiver that looks awesome in college, juking the shit out of folks for a whole bunch of yards. Around week 4 or 5, you could see the offense started to use Jaden Reed. Maybe it was 5 or 6. Orbit motions, throwing it to him behind the line of scrimmage, and it doesn't work. When they throw him the ball downfield, he catches it, scores touchdowns. Air yards are very important. I know we talk a lot about target share. Air yards and average depth, they're extremely important. Christian Watson can go out there and fumble, but if he's catching 4 for 114, that's a hell of a lot better than the 6 for 42, right? I want downfield stuff. I want opportunity to score, to get the big play. I'm looking at some of these second-year receivers, Jay. I'm going to plug them in. Second-year receivers, and let's talk about which ones you truly want to buy into for next year. Because this fantasy season's over. You're either in the playoffs and you're going to make your push. This fantasy season's over. So I'm going to start this off. Let's go. Jaden Reed. Reed is one of them, right? Jaden Reed. Tank Dell.
Tank Dell. Yep.
Tank Dell. Addison.
Ooh, man. This should be the list here.
Jordan Addison.
Zay, right?
Who?
Zay?
Yeah, Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers. Let's put Zay Flowers on the list. Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Yep. JSN.
Who else do we have? Second year and not
Josh Downs.
This is Downs. Okay, Downs.
Yeah.
All right, Josh Downs.
Do you know what's crazy? Is Downs?
I don't need to know. I don't want to know anything. I don't want to know any number. Don't tell me. Just give me the names. Josh Downs. Who else we got?
Yeah, so Puka.
Okay, good one.
Yeah, so Puka, Zay, JSN, Downs, Reed, Addison, Rashee Rice. I'm just giving you names from the class.
I don't want to include him because I don't want to include him, but we will. All right, Rashee Rice. Who?
Pop Douglas.
Nah, we won't put Pop. This is good enough right here.
Okay.
We'll put them in.
Yep.
We'll put those guys in, and I just want to see which ones people. Follow the dots, they said. Jay, I've been strict. Follow the dots, right? Isn't that what I just said? Follow them.
You did. Trey Tucker, looking good.
Oh,
holy man! What a cluster.
Yeah. Okay. Puka Nacua, we're all in on Puka. I mean, there's no doubt. You are in on Puka Nacua for 2026, 2025. Yep. So we'll get him off of here. Rashee Rice, you're good with Rice. Get him off of the list.
Holy
Clearly,
smokes.
so far, and this is just for the whole season. I didn't break it down by segment. This is week 1 to week 14. Tank Dell, the lesser utilized of this bunch of receivers. JSN, the highest scorer of this bunch of receivers. And Josh Downs, the highest used of this cluster of receivers. That's all very tight. You know what this tells me? Honestly, Jay, they're all the fucking same. They're all what they are. And if we put in the number 1 options for Minnesota, for Houston, for Seattle, they're all above those guys. Baltimore probably is clustered up. Indianapolis, Downs probably leads them all, and we saw what Green Bay looks like. Jaden Reed is also not at the front of the usage. This is, when I see stuff like this, because a lot of questions that come in is, Ray, do you want JSN or Jordan Addison? Do you prefer Jaden Reed or Zay Flowers? It's like those guys are kind of the same. They get utilized the same way. They're sort of scoring in the same role. It's which one do your league mates like more that you might be able to flip for a little bit more? But the answer to the question...
Extract the value when the opportunity presents itself, right? Like Zay Flowers is 44 on KTC, and you got to go all the way down to 78, 72 for Tank Dell and Josh Downs.
Somebody said J-Mo.
And they are... Yeah,
let's see what Jameson is. This isn't his second year, is it?
Yeah. No, it's his third year.
This is third year. Yeah, I was going to say, this is J-Mo's
Wicks
third
is in second year, too, though.
Who is?
Dontavian Wicks.
You want to put Wicks on? Wicks is way back.
He'll be
all
be
that Wicks hype.
Down, yeah.
Here's Wicks down here. Remember all that Wicks is going to be the wide receiver 1?
Yeah.
Stop it. Stop. Trust it, man. Go to ddfantasyfootball.com. Like, this is all we're going to do this offseason, and I think it's cool to play with this, Jay, because you can kind of look at individual situations and make a bet on who might have to add somebody next year, right? Case in point, the Dallas Cowboys. You look at Dallas. Look,
You want to do the same with the? Do you want to do the same with this rookie class?
I guarantee it right now. Book it, timestamp it, mark it. They're drafting a receiver, probably early. There's no
probably
probably
day
early.
2.
There's one guy to throw the ball to. It's CeeDee Lamb, and even then, he hadn't given us what we got last year. Like, this is an offense that lacks explosives. This is an offense that lacks playmakers. They need to upgrade the position in the spring, and they probably will. Denver, let's see what Denver and Bo Nix is looking like. Sutton balling out, doing his thing. They need more too. That you could just, this offense it's getting by, but there aren't a lot of high-end fantasy output options inside of this range. All right, Jay, have you been looking at the chat? I see a lot of people. There's a lot of Joe said, I want to buy Reed and Dell. That's it.
I would be buying Downs. They're all in the same price range, apparently, according to KTC, and I'd be buying Downs first, by far. But I just think Downs is the best player of the 3, and he commands.
Here's the thing: I'm not opposed to buying any of them. You know why? Because everyone likes them. They have positive sentiment. The ADV, people like those guys. So I'm fine with buying any of them. My expectation level for the fantasy output that I'm going to get from them will be adjusted. It is not. I don't believe that those guys are high-end fantasy assets. They're good players, great players for their team, fun players that can score you 20 points in a week. We've seen Jaden Reed do it. We've seen Tank Dell have multiple touchdowns. But the consistency to feel like this is some asset that you have to have, like that's what that's what they are.
That shows you that Zay Flowers is probably a sell, right? Like we've been through this with Zay Flowers a lot this season. When do you start him? Do you start him? Right? And the Trinity reflects all that, because when you put him in a bucket with Jackson Smith and Jigba and Josh Downs and all of these second-year players like Jaden Reed and all these guys, they all have the same corollary, and it is you don't know when to start them. They could have a great week, but then the next week they could bust, and you're like, what am I supposed to do? Maybe the odd time you catch them for a couple hot weeks like we've seen with JSN and Zay Flowers. But like you're pointing out, right, these guys are all very similar in what they're expected to do and how you should evaluate them and value them overall. I think Zay Flowers is a perfect example because he's the highest probably in value of the group. You know, Puka's up there as well, obviously. But Zay's the guy that I think is on a good team, clearly the one on his team in terms of wide receivers. And he's still not consistent enough to where you want to start him every single week.
I got Kanja, one of our boys in here. Kanja wants to see the same list, but for the last month. So let's go to the last month of the season with that same list and just see, because my advice to everybody, whether you use Trinity, whatever it is you use, even whatever metric it is you use, a lot of times we look at things holistically, right? For the whole season. He scored, he scored 17 points per game. Even though football it is truly like a new market each week, but I like to look at things in thirds or in fourths and quarters, kind of break up the season to see how the players started, what went on in the middle of the season, and how they finish the season. I think that's pretty important. You start to see players give more opportunity, coaches give more opportunity to players. And Joe said Ray didn't like that take. No, Joe, we're good. I'm fine with the buy Tank Dell's, I think she said Tank Dell, Jaden Reed take. I've got no issue with that at all. My expectation for what they're going to give me is just a little different. So I don't hate the take at all. It was Reed, Addison, Flowers, Smith and Jigba. Who else was on that list? Downs.
We had Puka and Rashee Rice on there as well. Yeah, take Puka
off. So it's just Tank Dell. So I'll pull these up from weeks 9 through 14, and then you'll see a different story, but kind of the same story, right? It's a different story, but sort of the same. If you had to guess what this chart looks like without seeing it, Jay, what do you think it looks like? The last month of the season, the last 4 weeks, what do you think that cluster looks like today?
I think it'd be pretty similar. Like JSN, Zay Flowers have been pretty good. Reed's been really bad, though. He'll probably be falling off a little bit. I think it'll be very similar. You
think it'll be similar?
Much different. I think it'll be similar. Yeah, maybe a couple guys on the higher end, a couple guys on the lower end, but probably fairly similar, right around that 6.5 mark.
Okay. All right. Well, let's take a look. Let's take a look at it.
Because Addison's been pretty good as well, right? Did you get Addison on the list? Because he's been pretty good. Yeah.
It's
just JSN.
It's pretty similar, right? What you see is there's a little more usage but less scoring, right? They've come. Price always comes back down to the mean. That 103,000 Bitcoin price came back down a little bit. Look who didn't really move. Jaden Reed's still in that range. Addison's still in that range. And the big riser, and we've been talking about him every week, is JSN. So if you were going to ask me today which one of these second year going into year 3 wide receivers I would prioritize, it would be Jackson Smith-Njigba. His usage over the last 6-7 weeks, and we saw him finally get to play with DK Metcalf, with Tyler Lockett, and he still got his. Like, that would be the one. If I were going to buy any of these guys, you're asking old Ray G, which one I'm going to buy for next season, it would be JSN. The trend, I like the direction of this offense, and I do think there is a world in which of all these players on the screen, there's only one guy that has a realistic shot of being the number one in a good offense, and I believe that's Jackson Smith-Njigba.
All right, Ray. So let's put your feet to the fire a little bit. I'm going to do a little would you rather for you.
Fire them up. Would you rather?
I am on KTC. I'm going to give you some names.
All right. Give it
would
to
you rather Jackson Smith-Njigba edition, Jackson Smith-Njigba, or Drake London?
Drake London.
Jackson Smith-Njigba or Brian Thomas Jr.? That's tough. I love BTJ, but that's tough.
How you going to pull at my heartstrings? I am the captain of the BTJ train.
You are. I won't take that away from you.
That train. Why are you doing this to me? And you know JSN is from my town. Like
he's from
I know JSN.
He's from your ends.
There's a funny Halloween story about old Jackson Smith-Njigba.
We'll keep it local though. We'll keep it local.
Yeah, we'll keep it. Yeah, late night I saw him at Walmart with an entourage, and he was getting ready for some fun. I'll just leave it at that. BTJ, I think. Probably BTJ. I'm buying into the rookie a little bit. I like both players. Give me another one.
His teammate, Jackson Smith-Njigba or Garrett Wilson? That's so tough, man.
JSN.
Okay. Jackson Smith-Njigba.
And you're saying it like that, but I know that I'm assuming I can move my Garrett Wilson and get JSN plus something, correct?
The value may say otherwise.
Well, really? Where are they ranked?
31 and 33.
Excuse me?
31 and 33 in KTC right now.
Garrett Wilson fell that far?
He is below. So I'm reading you down the list right now.
Man.
So Drake London, Brian Thomas, Garrett Wilson, Jackson Smith-Njigba in terms of value on KTC. 27 for London, 29 for Thomas, 31 for Wilson, 33 for JSN.
Alex said JSN part of Freak Off Friday.
Plead the fifth, Ray. It's time to plead the fifth.
Have fun. Yeah, the story is the story. Garrett Wilson ADV holding strong. Yeah, it is. It is. JSN because then that
new
was
QB though, maybe.
Pardon?
New QB for Garrett Wilson.
What are the Jets doing, man? We say this.
Who knows,
what are they doing? What are the Jets doing? Where? Who?
It's tough.
Who?
I don't know who. That's the problem.
Kirk Cousins?
Hopefully not.
Like,
I don't think
no
they'd even. They couldn't
get out of Aaron Rodgers and then go assume that money from Cousins. So that's not. I don't know what the Jets are going to do. I don't know what I don't know. I have no clue. Any more would you rathers?
Ladd McConkey
or JSN?
Yeah, that's tough. Ladd's really good, man. Like a healthy Ladd is probably a 1,200-yard receiver.
Dude, I probably would take Jackson Smith-Njigba. He's that good, and he's starting to get and earn the opportunity with DK on the field. We'll see who does Seattle play this week. That'll be a good. That's
Arizona, and DK's going to be out probably, trending
DK's
towards being out.
Yeah, Jackson Smith-Njigba.
I did talk about that in the news, but
yeah, Joe. The infamous second-year late season breakout.
Can we trust it? Can we trust it?
Got to trust.
And then
you got to trust
JSN or Pickens, because JSN versus Pickens is. I feel like the ADV really leans the Pickens side though.
I take Jackson Smith and Jigba. I think people like Pickens.
And then
I think
last but
by
not
and
least,
large, most
T.
fans-
Higgins. Because T. Higgins today ain't going to be T. Higgins in 12 months, right? Now, it could be good, it could be bad.
How you feel about T? Real talk, man. I had a trade offer to get T. Higgins, and
all right,
I want him. But I don't want to buy him.
Tell people why you want him.
Me only get to play him for like 7 times a season. Like, how do you really? He's good. He's very good. He's very good.
Here's what I'll say about T. Higgins. I will not touch on his character much.
Because you don't know shit about his character, so you don't touch on it at all.
No. But what I'm going to say is, when he wants to play good, he can. Right? Like, it seems like this year he is highly motivated to play well. And he is balling the hell out. Now, the question is, are you getting this T. Higgins next season? Because we've touched on it before, and I don't want to, again, say anything too harsh because it would be bad. Could this be a Galladay situation with T. Higgins?
Don't say that.
I don't want to think it would be that bad.
Don't speak that.
This could be the peak of T. Higgins. And we've seen the highs and lows of T. Higgins throughout his career so far. So, but I think to your point, he is playing extremely well right now. Extremely well. When he gets the ball, he catches it. He's a 100-yard threat every single game, especially the way the Burrow's playing.
Every game.
Even on a new team, as the number 1 target, another 100-yard threat every single game. Massive touchdown upside because of how good he is in the air and winning 50-50 balls. But can you confidently say you're getting that next season? That's the toughest part with T. Higgins. But I love the talent, and especially this year, I think we've seen probably the best version of T. Higgins we've ever seen. And it's just, can we get that consistently into next season and more importantly, on a new team?
Jason finished the sentence. When he plays, he's excellent. He's excellent.
Yeah.
And then Daniel Perry had talked about, shout out to Daniel. He said, very rare wide receivers change teams and do well. Not unlikely, but possible. I think the situation really matters. You know, do you know how many future bets have been ruined over Deontay Johnson? Over 849 receiving yards? Absolutely cooked.
Tons.
Absolutely cooked. I unloaded the clip on some of those, thinking that, okay, situation changes. He's a former number 1. He's going to a new team. He's going to be the number 1 target for Bryce Young. And he's got 2 damn catches on the season or whatever he has. T's better than Deontay. You look at T's Trinity as one of the highest on the season.
T's Trinity's got to be good.
It's pretty when he's on the field. When he's on the field, there's no doubt that he is a. You won't believe this. He has the 5th highest usage rate in the NFL of wide receivers. 7.89 score for the entirety of the season. The only players with a higher score than T. Higgins are Justin Jefferson, Nico Collins, Malik Neighbors, A.J. Brown.
Yeah, A.J. Brown is the literal Trinity GOAT, man. This dude just puts up numbers like nobody else.
Yeah, he's just a monster. Jamar Chase's actual, and it's crazy. You don't think it because he's scoring you so many points. He's got like 1,000 touchdowns.
Yeah.
There are times I think, Jay, did we do this on this show, or was this in Discord where we went through how many double-digit target games do you think Jamar Chase has on the season? There's a brain buster.
We didn't. It's got to be low though, because I was looking at his numbers the other day.
We're gonna do a little comparison. How many double-digit target games do you think Jamar Chase has had this season?
He's played 13 or 12. 12 probably, right?
Chase has played every game. I don't think he's missed a game. Chase has been active every game.
We're in week 14 though. 1 week off, so he's played 12 games.
Sure.
Okay. I'm gonna say
12.
6.
Yeah, 12. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna say half. 6.
6 double-digit target games.
Yeah.
5. And of the inside of that, man, he's had
70-yard games, whatever, right? Like
he's had
games.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games with 6 or fewer targets as well.
Oof.
And he's this good. 5 games of 6 or fewer targets, not receptions, targets. So when you look at his score, I mean, he's way above
The
everybody
highs
else
are
because
the
he's
highs
scoring
are
so
crazy
much.
high, right? Yeah.
But he's not even top 9 in usage across the board. Like, throw him the goddamn ball. What are you doing, Zach Taylor? You know, but he's efficient. He's great. Jamar Chase.
he's
You just
fifth
you don't
in
think it
targets
when
in
you
the NFL
hear,
this
oh,
year.
T. Higgins' usage is better than Chase. You're like, no way. Chase is outscoring him. But Higgins is now go look at T. Higgins. How many double-digit target games he's got? You want to guess for old T?
I mean, with he's missed about 3 games. I'm gonna say he only has 3.
He's missed a lot of games, but it doesn't matter. He's played in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games.
Like.
Of those 7 games, 1, 2, 3, 4 of 7 have been 10 or more. And then the ones that he did not, he's only got 1 game with 6 or fewer targets, where Jamar Chase has 6 of them with 6 or few. T's got 1 game of 6 or few targets. So his usage is incredible. He is a great wide receiver, and I'm hopeful that when he becomes a wide receiver 1 for Bryce Young, for Drake May, that he continues his his dominance.
Do you know who leads the NFL in targets? This is actually surprising to me. I did not expect this at all.
Terry McLaurin.
No, Terry McLaurin is.
I just guessed
way down there.
Who?
He's 26th in targets. CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah,
that's kind of crazy.
You saw the
right?
chart. Did you not look at the dots? There's only one guy.
I did.
There's only him.
It's crazy. It's crazy that he leads the NFL in targets while being hurt, and like how with Dak being out, like nuts. But Cooper Rush doesn't throw him the ball a lot. He does throw him the ball a lot. And Neighbors is third, and he's only played 10 games.
Oh, CJ, you put this in the atmosphere. Now Kevin's running with it. Some serious Kenny Golladay vibes from Higgins.
Man,
I got Golladay PTSD. I don't want any aging wide receivers. Jimbo cowering it up. I'm not feeling this today from Jimbo. Yeah, it's gonna be in. Here's a super chat, man, from Dax Lloyd. Shout out to Dax, man. Appreciate you, Dax. Hey guys, I need help here. All right, I'm battling for the first round bye in my league in a full flex PPR. Do I play Waddle or Rico Dowdle? Tua is my QB. Who do the Dolphins play on the week? Who do the Dolphins play?
The Jets. I think you have to play Waddle.
Doesn't Waddle cook the Jets? I feel so. The opening of this game, let me give you some numbers. Dolphins are favored at home by 5.5.
They're like 5 or 6.5.
And we've got a 44.5 point total, which is I like that. I like those numbers. And he's deciding between Dallas, and Dallas plays the Bengals, who are also not good.
Monday night.
Who are also not good. In a 49.5 point game, with Dallas being 5-point dogs at home.
Yeah. So, oh my God. Okay, so last year against the Jets, Jalen Waddle had 100 yards in both games.
That's what I said. I think he cooks the Jets. And if I'm not mistaken, I do believe
8 receptions in each, 100 in both.
I think the Jets DBs are banged up. I think Sauce is banged
not expected to play.
He is?
Not expected to play, yeah. He's
DJ Reed was also banged up as well, the other cornerback.
Yeah, he might be. But yeah, Sauce is definitely hurt. And Waddle has been, Waddle had 100. Both games last season, Waddle had 100 yards. Let's go to 22, where 22 not quite as good. But yeah, last season he cooked him. And to be fair, like Tua did struggle in Green Bay, but he is playing much better than he has. Like once he came back, he was playing really, really well. But that Green Bay game, he did struggle a little bit. And even still, Waddle had 4 for 53, which is not too bad.
Which one? Waddle or Rico, who's getting 20 opportunities a game? 20 plus. I think I'm going to start Rico Dowdle. I'm going to start him versus that Cincinnati defense. I'm going to bet that his streak.
But do you want to bet on having Tua for the upside?
I'm just going to bet on 20 plus opportunities and have my fingers crossed. There's nobody else to run the ball.
I'll back it. Yeah. Rico has been pretty good, and the Bengals defense is horrible. Well, it's way worse than the Jets.
And my thing with Miami is absolutely could be a Waddle game, could be a Tyreek game, could be a Jonnu game.
Could be both.
Could be an Achane game. Dallas, it's 1 or 2. There's no Jalen Tolbert game. There's no Brandon Cooks game.
Now, it is in Miami. which is a
I know.
big
It's a
benefit.
tough question. I'm taking
That's a
Rico
big
Dowdle, man.
benefit.
I'm going Tico route. I'm going Tico Dowdle. Rico Dowdle. Rico Dowdle. I like the game environment. I like the game environment, and I like the opportunity. So Dowdle, there it is.
Destroy
but I
the
don't.
Jets.
I'm with Josh. Waddle's not a bad play. I don't think it's a bad play, but I would start Rico Dowdle. Start Rico.
Yeah.
All right, man. We didn't talk about any damn games this weekend. I don't know what we discussed, but I hope the people enjoyed it, man. Just having a conversation about ball. Sometimes you just wake up. Ferg is back too. Colin said Ferg is back. Sometimes you just gotta talk ball. Sometimes you just gotta talk with the family, talk some football. Y'all gonna get fantasied out over the next couple of days, couple of hours before the start sit stuff. Make sure you tap in to our start sit show on Sunday. Yeah, safer floor with Rico. I'm just banking on the opportunity, Weez. Just give me the opportunity, give me the touches, right? Hit the music, Jay. Hit the music. I need T Hill to snap. JRich, playoff push, BBM. Man, I got some good BBM teams.
Do you?
Right now I'm advancing, I think advancing projected to advance 30. And I've got 2 inside the top, like 5,000.
So you're hoping to advance about 20%. That's good.
Yeah, it's
really good.
20. Yeah, Jay, I had a roster that had CMC, Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, and Josh Jacobs on the same squad. All 4 of them, dude. All 4 of them.
That's a squad.
Yeah.
It sucks because you can only start, 2 or 3 of them?
You can get 3 in, 2 in a flex.
Okay. Oh, that's okay. Then you're in good shape.
The receivers are no bueno though. The receivers are out for the season. All of them done for the year. So BBM is chugging along.
Yep.
Yeah. Enjoy. Anything you want to say, people, before we get out of here this Friday, man? Me and Wifey, we're gonna go see Fantasia tonight. We're gonna go to Fantasia concert. She likes her. And then we're gonna hopefully have some Friday shenanigans. You know what those are? Friday shenanigans.
I could imagine, my friend. I could imagine. I don't know how you get down, but I could imagine.
We're getting a pool built in the back with a hot tub.
Fuck.
Anything you want to say to people before we get out of here, man? Trust the Trinity, follow the top.
Oh my God.
It's salt water. It's salt water. It blends in.
Is that good though? Will it keep your skin soft? I don't know. I don't. Will it?
Come on,
Okay.
What do you need?
Chiefs Chargers, right? Who you got? Sunday Night Football. Big game.
LA.
Yeah.
LA.
Fuck the Chiefs, man.
Taking the points. Give me the points. Chargers.
Yeah. No,
LA.
no, we're not taking the points. We're taking the money line.
Yeah, take the money.
Don't be a
We're taking the money line?
I'm taking the money line.
All right, I like it. Appreciate y'all. Make sure you tap into the content on the channel. Check out our boys, Todd Claire and Gabe, tomorrow. Fantasy Football Dynasty, the All Gas Trade Show. That's coming out on Saturday. I got some stuff dropping today. Starts this show on Sunday. And then JRich and I wake up on Monday, 8 a.m. bright and early. We'll probably go like longer than the hour because we always do. So we appreciate everybody watching. Hit the thumbs up button. Like the stream. Comment below. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, do that. Do that.
Did you see that comment? Coming soon to OF.
If I get that 43 million, you goddamn right. I'll be right on there. /OFGQ.
Who the hell is paying you
million.
43 million?
43 million. Where's Chippy at today? Chippy's in the kitchen. Yeah, Chippy the elf. It's about to. This is the part of the show where we just need to get out because we'll be on here for another 30 minutes. Y'all enjoy week 14. Wake y'all asses up with us on Monday. Joe, we out. We gone, Joe. We gone, Joe. We out. Peace.